All right, so welcome everyone. Welcome to today's very special live online session on WebQuests. You could add in the chat box where you're from and anything else you'd like to add. Feel free to use the chat box to communicate, chat with each other, chat with me, take notes, whatever you want to use the chat box for, that is totally fine. We will be able to communicate by voice later on, but for a start, let's just warm up and get started with the WebQuest. I'm not able to stop the waiting list, so I'm going to have to keep doing that. All right, so WebQuests is actually, for me, it started a new, I would say, a new discovery, not only about the world, but about myself. WebQuest started a long time ago in the mid-1990s, specifically 1995, with Bernie Dodge, and have transformed, and in many cases, many teachers have stopped using them because they don't know about them. So I decided to revive WebQuests and what I consider the joy of learning. So what are WebQuests? Let's take a look at the WebQuest. WebQuests are ideal for both individual and collaborative learning projects. They provide a way for teachers to use the internet to engage learners in a very, very organized manner, where the teacher is actually in charge, at least with the instructions, and the learners take over and learn. You need a computer device, whether you're using a computer, a desktop, a laptop, your phone, or the students are using their phones, or a tablet or iPad, it works, as long as you're able to use the internet. However, there is also a way of using the WebQuest offline, and we'll talk about that as well. A little bit about me for those who don't know me, or those who may have forgotten, or anyone else who's curious about who I am and what I do, and maybe why I do it. So feel free once again to ask me questions as we go. I'm a Canadian educator. I organize, and I've been organizing online professional development since 2009 on a Moodle platform. But I guess I've always been involved in teaching, both young learners, high school learners, older learners, adult learners, for over 40 years. And I love the process, because the process involves learning from my students, who learn from each other. And I guess they learn a little bit about me. You can read more about me. I have become somewhat of a Moodle expert for admin, those who want to control a Moodle. I'm going to have to keep admitting people. It's kind of hard, but I'll do it. Who want to be able to manage a whole Moodle site. Moodle is a learning management system, but it's on a host. It's a website, actually, with plugins, and you'll get to know it because our course will be on a Moodle platform. Moodle has evolved since its inception in 2001. I started in 2003 as an admin. Right now, I am involved in TESOL Call IS as the elected chair of Call IS, and also EVO. So I'm doing a few things, and hopefully I'll manage. All right, so what do learners need? Think of yourself. What do you need as a learner? By the way, I think teachers are model learners because they're constantly learning in order to teach. And of course, are passionate about lifelong learning. So learners need information. They need to ask questions to simulate inquiry and exploration. Curiosity is something that learners have. They want to be able to access information, facts, and they need guidance. They can't do it on their own. Even to this day, I am faced with teachers complaining, and actually some of them are surprised that students, even adult students, don't really know anything about the internet. And they know Google, they know how to search, or they think they do, but they're not able to get the information that they want. They get stuck in social networks and don't really make the most of their time using the internet efficiently. So they need guidance on how to select, evaluate, apply, organize, synthesize, and communicate ideas from the information that they get from the internet. They also need time, time management. We all need to learn about time and how to make the most of our time so that we don't go off and think about other things, but we focus on what we need to get done. They need time also to watch, to observe, to wonder, to explore, to question, to search. They need a pause. And that's why we're here. We're here to help them with time, with opportunities to make choices and to know that there are alternatives. It's not always one way. There are different ways of doing things. And explore, try things out, not be afraid, travel, whether online or in reality, and interact with others for learning. They need tools, resources, technologies, material for physical and mental work. Because we're not only talking about virtual learning, we're talking about face-to-face, and that's what the WebQuest is about. It's mostly about face-to-face learning in and out of the classroom. They need experience, and that takes years, but we can help them. Practical experience, meaningful, active participation in whatever they do. They need to have varied activities, social engagement, team-based, collaborative, and peer learning. That's what they need. And that's what we're here to help them with. They also need motivation, self-directed autonomy, teacher-supportive learning. They need relevant and meaningful activities, authentic activities. They need models, us and each other, and maybe strangers that they don't even know to model. They need to model positive, supportive, and enthusiastic people. They need strategies, techniques to cope with their strengths, their weaknesses, with opportunities that come their way, with problems that come their way. That's where the WebQuest comes in. We use the WebQuest for all these things. So why use the WebQuest? Well, in the past, when we still had computer rooms, not in the classroom, but we might have had 1 or 2 computers in the classroom. I don't know if you remember those days. I'm talking about over almost 30 years ago, when we had computer labs, if we were lucky in our school, or we had 1 or 2 computers. So that's the learners could sit around or take turns on the computer. So in those days, and even these days, we need to justify the cost of placing computers in the classroom. And the cost is too high. The computers generally are too slow. And we all know this. If we've used computers in the classroom, they're slow. So these days we're using our phones, and students are using their phones where they're allowed to use their phones. But for the WebQuest, this is a chance for them to use the phones directed and organized by you. School stakeholders are concerned about students' unguided use of the internet. And in some schools, they stopped the internet. You can't use the internet. You can't use your phones with Wi-Fi. You can't, or with a plan, because students are roaming off at all ages, by the way, even university students are not really responsible users of the internet. And things happen. And I have lots of stories, as I'm sure you do, about young learners who happen to, by mistake, opened, or something just popped up that it shouldn't have on their phones. And it's really scary. So we are concerned about, to this day, we're still concerned about the use of the internet. Students need guidance. Is the cost worth it? It's not. We know that the cost of having computers in the classroom is too high. The computers get old, and it's not worth it. There are some laptops, and they've tried different ways of getting equipment in the classroom, but is the cost worth it? Is it really necessary when everyone has a phone these days? We need to learn how to use the internet effectively in the classroom. And the WebQuest is a simple way of doing it. Really, really simple. And you're going to learn how. The building blocks of a WebQuest are the introduction, where you introduce a topic based on a lesson plan or whatever you decide to do in your classroom. You can start thinking of topics that you'd like your students to learn, because it's not about the teacher teaching, it's about students learning. The introduction, you introduce the topic. The task is very, very difficult, because you really need to think of a way to capture the students' real life needs. And that's where the task comes in. You'll see examples, so you'll be able to follow. And then the process, the steps that the students will take. Next are the resources. List internet sites, articles, whatever will work, that you decide, not the students, because we want it to be safe for everyone. And we want everyone to focus on the same resources. This is a chance for you to look for relevant resources and list them for the topic, and of course, to help the students carry out the tasks. The tasks are in teams. Generally, teams of 4 is an ideal number. And then evaluation came out twice. Evaluation. Students will know how they will be evaluated as a team and individually, because we do both. Team evaluation, how they work together as a team, and individuals within the team, how the individual students contributed to the teamwork. They will get a rubric that you will create to help them understand how they will be evaluated. So everything is up front. And then the conclusion. They will learn how to conclude and reflect. The conclusion and reflections are part of the same thing. Of course, there is a teacher page where you will organize your work. You can work alone or with colleague or colleagues. I have done WebQuests with, I think, up to 4, maybe 5 colleagues. And it is amazing. WebQuests offer opportunities. And I'm going to stop just to check the chat if there are any questions up to here. Okay, if there is a question, feel free to add the question mark before so that I see a question mark, and then it'll make it easier. But actually we'll have an open mic session later on when I stop the recording and the screen sharing so that we can go over some of your concerns. WebQuests offer opportunities. What kind of opportunities? Well, teamwork. Now you can think of a few reasons, maybe you'd like to add them in the chat. Why teamwork? Why are we concerned with teamwork? I can tell you that I love teamwork. I love working on a team. And if you've worked on a team, you know that there are challenges. It's not that easy, but it's possible. Just like relationships may not be that easy, but it's possible to get over a lot of hoops when it comes to teamwork. So why teamwork? Just throw something out if you can think of something right now. Teamwork. I have been involved, I guess, for most of my young years, high school and junior high, in teamwork, team sports. And if you've been on a sports team, you know of the importance of working as a team. Very, very important, whether it's basketball, baseball, volleyball, any other team. So teamwork is important. Teamwork widens opportunities. Yes, to learn from one another about yourself. That's right. We learn about ourselves, but we also get a lot more done if we're efficient. So learning to be efficient in a team is very important. And that's how high-tech companies work. You work in teams. Teamwork is the way we move forward. So you learn to collaborate, you learn to cooperate with one another, and you develop critical thinking because you're constantly thinking of decisions, what to choose, what is better. Self-discovery, as Maria mentioned, that's right, and self-directed. Even though you're working on a team, you are self-directed because there isn't a leader as such. Okay, and self-paced. Each one works at their own pace. And of course, it's inquiry-based. There are 2 kinds of WebQuests. One is a short-term WebQuest, where you have students work on the WebQuest for 1 or 3 lessons. By working on a short-term WebQuest, they're able to acquire knowledge and integrate that knowledge into real-life situations. I don't know if you're getting it. You will get it if it doesn't make sense right now. But a WebQuest is not a quest as such. It's not a treasure hunt. Okay, a lot of teachers in the past used to tell Nellie, I created a WebQuest. What was treasure hunt? It's not a treasure hunt. It's a real life task that you do as a team. It's role playing. It's a lot more than looking for treasures. But you may find treasure in a WebQuest. You also get significant amount of information and you make sense of it because that's the idea. The long term is a bit longer. It's 1 month or more. It could be a few months. And you extend and expand your knowledge because it's not a quick 1 or 2 lesson WebQuest, but it's over a period of time. And this way you're able to refine knowledge and analyze the body of knowledge a little bit more and demonstrate your understanding. So it's up to you, of course, whether you do one or the other. WebQuest help learners with their thinking skills. When they compare information, classify information, come to conclusions, deduce, induce, analyze errors, which is really important, and construct support. They learn how to support one another. They also learn about abstraction and analyzing perspectives. So they're getting a very holistic idea of how to view things. WebQuests are also opportunities for learning, where the learning is structured. The teacher structures it for the learner. The use of technology, which is what we want our students to be able to use for learning, because that's what hopefully they'll be doing for the rest of their lives, not just playing games, which are also nice if you can learn from them, or at least realize when you're learning. And if you realize when you're learning, you will learn about yourself and other areas and skills as well. Also control. Students feel that they're in control when they know exactly what to do. And this is how they gain confidence, because it's not all over the place. Everything is organized in a very controlled way. They engage with each other, the content, and of course, you, the instructor. And they're able to sense what it's like to be in a classroom where everyone's learning. Class management is very easy when it comes to WebQuests. So if you're having a hard time with students, you want your students to have opportunities to learn, to ask questions and so on, and you want an organized way of doing it and managing the class so that students are not all over the place and they feel safe and you feel that they are safe. WebQuests really help in class management. Both the teacher and the students are creative in using their critical thinking skills and developing them to solve problems, because that's what the task is about. The task is a way to solve problems. You will set up a problem for your students. Now, what are the challenges for teachers? Since we're talking about teachers here, the challenges are fear. Teachers are human beings, just like everybody else, and we all fear trying something new. This is part of our being. That's who we are. We are afraid of change and trying new things out until we feel sure. And we never really feel sure because we're afraid of trying. So fear is the first challenge. I remember how I felt the first time I created a WebQuest. Instead of creating a WebQuest, I created a website. I was so afraid of creating the WebQuest and of making mistakes that I came up with a website. But that's not a WebQuest. Self-criticism. We are continuously putting hoops in front of us and criticizing ourselves. No, that's not right. No, that's not good. Instead of just doing it. The topic, choosing a topic, is a challenge. And coming up with a task that is exciting. You know, it's almost like coming up with a production, a movie production, writing a script. It's not easy, but we can do it. Once we get fear out of the way. Fear is our biggest challenge, I think. And technology, we're afraid. I might break something. They'll laugh at me. It won't work out. And I'm not kidding. You might not be aware, but we do go through these thoughts. And if you stop to listen to yourself, you'll realize that these are some of the things that go through our minds, yours and mine. The platform. Can I use the platform? What platform do I use for my WebQuest? Is it good enough? Maybe I should try this one. No, let's try this one. And then we get all fumbled and we don't know what to do. So, it's easier to just give up. And that's what happens. And time, it's time consuming. I can't do it. But think of all the fun. So time is something that may come in our way, but we can learn. And we're worried about what others will say. It's not just we criticize ourselves, we're our worst critic, but we think of others. What will they say? What will the students say? What will other teachers say? What will the principals say? What will the administration say? What will someone else say? And vulnerable, because when we create a WebQuest, we're actually putting it out there for others. It's going to be on the internet. So that's a vulnerability issue. And we might not be ready for that. I'm scared. But that's what a WebQuest is. It's putting something together out there where someone might see it. They probably won't, because Google is not going to go after you and decide that you're the one that it's going to put out there for everybody to see. So unless you're sharing the link, who's going to see it? But nonetheless, we are scared of public exposure. Even though no one's going to see it except our students, we are afraid. And confidence. I don't have the confidence. I can't do this, okay? So you get the picture. And the worst nightmare are broken links. And you'll see on my WebQuest that there are so many broken links. The links that we added to the resources hardly ever stay because websites disappear. I don't know if you knew that. And they're called broken links. And then we need to make choices. And I don't have the time. Right. So we go through this list over and over again. Well, we're going to help each other so that we can do it. Taking an online course is not easy either. There is fear, self-criticism. I don't know if you've taken an online course, but if you haven't, these are some of the things that go through our brains. We're vulnerable because people will see us. Maybe they'll judge our words. Maybe we didn't say things right, but we are very critical. And technology, we might be afraid of what's out there. Too many words, too many links. It's chaotic. I'm scared. These things go through our brains. It's like a jungle out there, right? Sometimes in an online course. And if you're not familiar with Moodle, this could be scary. And it's natural. Remember, all these feelings are natural. What we could do is tap into them and not be afraid of being afraid. It's natural. The Moodle platform, it's new for me. Moodle changes all the time. So even if you knew Moodle 10 years ago, it's not the same. So it's called Moodle, but it's completely different. And by the way, in a couple of months or maybe less, it's going to be Moodle 4.0, which is completely different. Right now, the Moodle where this course is going to take place is Moodle 3.11.6. Okay, and it's changing. So we feel vulnerable in an online course, and it's natural and it's okay. Logging in, I logged in. I don't remember how I logged in. What did I do? Well, you log in, and I'll show you in a minute, the same way you did the first time. But what if you don't remember your password? Well, you don't need a password, not anymore. So you don't have to remember a password. Well, what about my username? I don't know it. You don't need a username. You just click on the social services that are there, and I'll show you. Confidence is a huge problem, challenge, right? The internet, it might not work. My internet's off. It happens to me. It's been happening lately. It happened yesterday when I woke up. No electricity. So the internet is not stable. It's improved, but there are still issues. And making choices, we need to learn to make choices. The layout of the Moodle course. The Moodle course, I'm going to look for questions because I'm going through this quite quickly. Okay, great. Keep writing in the chat. Feel free to write. It's okay. It's very important to write in the chat, so that's fine. All right, let me just check the time. Great. All right, so the layout of the Moodle course. What does it look like? If you could add in the chat, if you've been to the course, maybe someone can also share the link. What does it look like? Maybe it looks like a mess. Maybe it's chaotic. Maybe you think it's organized. What's your first impression? You know, I've seen everything and it's fine. We get used to it. We get used to a lot of things once we're exposed to it. First of all, the course is divided into topic sections. And you will see them at the top. I'll take you through in a minute. There's also a messaging system, which is great, but how do I know about it? You'll learn about it. There is reading involved. Where do I read? What do I read? Discussions. What do I do with the discussions? I respond. How do I respond? How do I know when someone responded to me or replied to me? How do I know? What do I do? The Zoom meetings, where are they? When are they? Where do I find them? Moodle is also divided into blocks. There's the left block with information there, and it's static. It doesn't move. And there's the right block where there's information and it doesn't move. And there's the center with the topic sections. Does that make sense? Maybe if you know what Moodle looks like. There's also a progress bar, which is on the right block, where you can see your progress and see what you still need to do. We'll look at that. Level up. Do you know what level up is? Anyone in the chat? What is level up? Oh, thank you, Zainab, for adding that. Well, I don't know what it sounds like to you, but it certainly doesn't sound like what it is. Level up is actually a gamification feature on Moodle. Every time you do something, you get a level up. And you see it right there. And I'll show you that too. So it's really a lot of fun. There's level up. There are badges. Where can you see the badges? On the left block. The level up is on the right. And then there are support forms. In each topic section, you will find a support forms. How many topic sections are there, Nellie? We'll find out. Time zone. I see the time, but that's not, is that my time? Because today it was 8 o'clock and that's when it's going to be every Friday at 8 o'clock. What time was it for you? How do I see my time zone? Well, that's something that you'll need to learn. So what time was it for you today? Nine a.m. Okay, in Argentina. What time was it in your area? See, every area is different. So we need to set our time zone, and you can find that in your profile. So I see 30 p.m. in Iran. So even though we're all here and we all made it, it's a different time. And the certificate. You'll also get a certificate in the last week. How do I qualify for a certificate? What do I need to do? These may be some of the questions that you're asking. And you're going to list your WebQuest. I have quite a few WebQuests. If you Google Nellie Deutsch, you'll find WebQuests. And WebQuests are about doing. When you do, when you create, you succeed. And that's what it's about. And we're going to go for it. These are some of the references that you will find useful. I hope. There's Bernie Dodge, WebQuest from 1995. And we also have an article from 2021. See, I left out the date there. Okay, we've got some other ones. Erica, I think I admitted you. I don't know what happened there. And there's another one from 2021 and the last one from 2021. This is the recording. You'll be able to see that later on. All right, so I'm going to stop screen sharing. This is the course. Okay, that's the course. Okay, there's an overview. It says enroll, a little bit about the course. And if I go to the top to my browser, I'll be able to copy the link. So I'm going to copy it and add it to the chat. There we are. There, I added it again. Okay, so you can unmute yourself as I said. Great. All right. So I click on enroll, or I can simply go into the login at the top right. Okay, I've got a choice here. So let me click on enroll, and then it takes me, oops, all the way down. And then it says, guests cannot access the course. Please log in. So if I didn't get it before, I'll log in. And then I've got 4 options. Notice the username and password. I never need to know that. So forget about forgot password or remember you, because you don't have it. You don't have a username and password. You are logging in, which is called actually authentication. You are logging in using one of these. Now try to use the same one, because it'll be based on your email, whatever email you're using. So if you have a few Gmail accounts, how many of you have a few Gmail accounts? Let me know yes, no, or in the chat. I have a lot. I don't bother counting. I have organization Gmails. I have personal emails, Gmails. I have too many. So whatever you want to use, make sure that it's open. Facebook, if you decide that you want to log in every time with Facebook, then make sure that you only have one and that one is open. And remember which one you use, because if you're going to use another one, you'll be enrolled again and you'll miss the badges from the other login that you used. Microsoft, I've got a few Microsoft. I need to make sure that the one that I want is open. And of course, with LinkedIn. I'm going to log in with my Microsoft. Notice I clicked on the Microsoft, whatever Microsoft I have open here, which I don't remember, and I'm in. That's how fast. Was that fast? Are you able to hear me? Say yes if you're able to hear me. Can you hear me? Please say yes.
Hello, Nellie. Hi.
Thank you, Maria, for letting me know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, just say yes so we can hear your voices.
Yes, no. we are replying and right. You meant by voice.
Yes, I want to hear your
because
voice.
We're all going crazy in the
I
chat.
know. I want to hear you. That's the idea. All right.
Right. Okay. Long time no hear you, right?
Yes, that's it. That's it.
In a while.
So
okay,
you noticed how fast I logged in using my Microsoft, and it's the same for all the others. Notice here at the top, in this course, you'll be able to connect. Remember I mentioned the messaging system? Well, there is a messaging system over here, okay? Notice it's like a chat icon, and we can communicate. And I'll show you how that works as well. Remember I told you there is a left block and a right block. So let's open up the right block. On the right block, notice the latest announcements, upcoming events, activities, forums, the Zoom meetings. Notice they're all here. So far, I think I only added one. There's the level up. I have one level up. And these are the people that are online right now. Glad to see you there. Excellent. There's a support form in case of an emergency. And here is the completion progress bar. You need to do each of these, and then you'll get your certificate. That's the right. On the left, notice, if I hover my mouse over the top, I get course navigation, participants, badges, and grades. Participants, I get a list of all the participants. Notice I can go by alphabetical order. So if I want Maria, going to click on the M, and then I get all the M's, and there are 2 Marias right now. And then let's go back here. What else could I do here? I can select, let's say I want to find the teacher. Who is the teacher of this course? Okay, so which role do I want? I want the manager, because that's what I am, okay? And then I apply filters, and I should get, not Maria, because notice I should get me, okay? So if you wanna contact me for personal reasons, but otherwise, please use the support form, okay? You'll be able to learn about me, okay? I'm in as another Nellie. You'll see some of my certificates. And what else can you find out here? Well, you can add me to your contacts, or you can send me an email right here by clicking on my email. So this information is available only to those who are taking the course. If you're not taking this course, you will not be able to see the participants or anyone else, okay? So keep that in mind. Let's say I want to send messages. I go to the top, and here I can choose whoever's there and send a message. Notice Nellie sent a message. I can write the message and send her a message. Okay, so that is the messaging system. Now notice here, it says administration, but I'm not an administrator, I'm just a teacher here. But here I can go into preferences. Oops, it says I cannot. Oh, too bad. All right, so let's go to the top. Cannot edit. Okay, I have no rights because I'm going into somebody else. Notice I cannot go into Nellie's preferences, but I can go into mine. Okay, so top right, I'm going to go to preferences and see what I have here. I can't go into somebody else's. Notice this is really important. Here I can take a look at badges, backpack. I can edit my profile, start page, do all these things. Okay, so try them out. Don't worry, you can't do anything wrong. And message preferences, linked logins, lots of interesting things. Let's go into edit profile. Notice under edit profile, I have the time zone. How about that? Now my time zone is America, Toronto, but yours might be different. So choose yours or as close as you are to yours. Anybody here, tell me where you are and I'll choose your time zone.
Argentina, Rio Gallegos.
Which one? I've heard Europe.
Argentina, and then Rio Gallegos, I think.
Did someone write that? Oh, that's the closest you mean to where you are.
Yes.
Okay, so notice how this is by alphabetical order. So we've got Antarctica, anyone, and America. At the top is America. Before that, of course, is Africa. Anyone here from Africa? Anyone here from lots of Africa there? And America. Okay, so we've got Argentina, Salta. Is that okay?
That's to the north, but we share the same
Okay. Oh, excellent. So you have to know that. Okay, America, Argentina, there's San Juan, okay, and so on. Aruba. Okay, that's America. Caracas, Cancun, Chicago. Notice they're all together. The cities are by alphabetical order. Costa Rica, where my daughter is, where she is right now, and one of my daughters. Edmonton is in Canada. Anyone here would like Mexico City? That's America. United States, notice different cities in the United States. And then we have Antarctica. I don't think there's anybody here. In Asia, Almaty, anyone from Almaty here? Amman, Beirut. Oh, we've got Zainab right from
Right, Iran.
Iran. Do you see Iran here? I don't see Iran. How's that? What do you add, Zainab? I don't see Iran here. Dubai, I wonder why. Maybe I need to add it. Oh no, I need the city. What am I talking about? Of course, I need a city in Iran.
She says Armenia, Nellie.
Armenia?
Armenia, yeah.
Oh, Armenia. Is that in Asia? What city? I need a city. See, this is all by city. Unless, what city?
Tehran.
Ah, Tehran, of course, of course. Okay, Tehran, there we are. Okay, so I'm going to click on Tehran. And then remember, it also says country, but that's not going to make a difference in your time zone. Okay, the country doesn't do it, you need the time zone. And then remember to update profile or it's not going to show. All right, so Zainab, if I remember correctly, you said, now let's go back to the course. Where do I go? I'm going to go to the top where it says recent WebQuest. I believe you said 4:30, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look for the Zoom meeting. Okay, is that correct? In Tehran, the meeting started at 4:30.
Yes, great.
That's right. So that's how you get your time zone so that you will see it in your time zone.
Yes.
And I can click over here too, and it'll show. Let's click on it. It's not, okay, here we go. All right, it says join meeting, but I'm here already. And notice it's 1 hour. It's in progress, right? We're in progress. And the start time was 4:30 p.m. All right, and the other information that's here. Okay, and all the meetings will appear here. I haven't set them up yet. All right, let me know if there are any questions. I'm going to go back. Notice I go from right to left, like in Arabic. Notice what I can do. I can download the content of the course, but wait until the end. Don't do it now. Okay, I can confirm and download, or you can download, one bit of a time because it's only 50 MB at a time. Let's cancel that. What else can I do? Well, I can unenroll. I can even remove myself from the site if I don't want to be here anymore. Okay, unenroll myself, but don't do it. Okay, don't try it now. Only after you complete the course. Now, topic sections. I told you about topic sections, but I also told you about badges. If you want to take a look at the badges start today. These are the badges. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 badges, right? 5 badges. How do I go back? Notice I'm here under badges. I'm going to go from right to left. These are called breadcrumbs by Moodle. That's what they coined them, breadcrumbs. These are the topic sections. Okay, we've got overview and introduction, the task, the process. Do these sound familiar? The task, the process.
Yes, totally. What we will have to be
Evaluate
working
and
on.
reflect, showcase your WebQuest, and the final certificate. These are sections. Each section, you'll need to scroll down. Right now, we're in blue. If you want to be able to find the section, you go up to the browser window, copy the link, and that's the section that you're in. A lot of information, play around, don't be afraid, and ask questions in the support form. So this is where we are today. It's blue. We're going to scroll down. Announcements, support, introduction. This is where you introduce yourself. You click, and then you add a new topic. You can also reply to others. So you start by clicking on add a new discussion topic. I know it doesn't make sense if you're an English teacher. It doesn't really make sense because you're starting the discussion. I started the discussion, right? Let's get acquainted. But that's how we start a post, and then we can respond to everybody else. Notice replies that I need to relate to, let's go back, breadcrumbing to overview and introductions, which is the name of this section. Okay, you'll get used to it. This link will be replaced with the recording, and then host a WebQuest where and why. Now, because we're talking about a kind of website, it's a WebQuest, but it's a site. And you can add your WebQuest to various places. There's Zoonal, it's free. WebQuest Garden has a fee. It used to be completely free. You can add your WebQuest to a blogger, a whole blogger, or WordPress, which are completely free. You can add it to Book Creator. You can do what I did with some of mine because I needed to have a place for them, and that is on Google Docs. If you want to look at the template is also available. The first thing is to choose a topic. So think of what this is a WebQuest template. Notice what's here. There's the title. Designed by, I don't know why it's like this, but there must be a mistake here. Okay, so you need to have an introduction, the task, the process, evaluation, conclusion, credits if you want to give credit for whatever work you've done, and teacher plan. And here's an explanation of what I used, for example, for the task. This is for the giver. That wasn't my first WebQuest, but it was one of my first. It was from 2009. Most of my WebQuests are based on books and short stories, longer stories. The team will investigate. I don't know if you are familiar with The Giver by Lois Lowry. It's kind of a science fiction book. There's also a version for young learners as well as for language learners, English language learners. The team will investigate and uncover why Jonas left the community. They will list the reasons for his leaving and recommend alternatives. So this will never happen again. The results of the investigation will be presented. These are things that they will have to read about and come up with answers using their imagination based on the information. The committee will create a journal where they will keep track of all of the information and so on. This is an example of a task, an example of an introduction from a real WebQuest, the process, and so on. Let me go back here to this WebQuest. I believe I added, yes, in this video. We will create a journal. Okay, there's me. Let me go into the edit. In the recording, you will find lots of information, including a blog post that I created with also relevant information. Let's see if it's here. It is not, so let me go into it. This is a blog post. There it is. Here we are. Okay, and here you can find resources on WebQuest that I developed. These are, the first one is the template that I showed you, and then there's the last spin, the perfect society. Why did they do that? Which is a name a friend of mine came up with for flags. How to create flags, country flags. Apple from the Desert, based on a short story. Run for Your Health WebQuest, based on, of course, health and exercise. Let me go into the last spin. Anyone familiar here with the last spin? It's a very, very powerful short story. I think it's really relevant even to this day. Anyone? Just let me know.
No,
Maria?
Nellie, unfortunately.
It's great. You'll be able to read it actually, and follow this. Maybe you want to use it. You can use any of my WebQuests. Okay, feel free, they're available and free to use. Now I added them to this Google Doc, which is also a possibility. You can also add it to a Google website, which is a lot more work. I think for me anyways, the fastest this took me, I mean, just to bring it over from my website with all its broken links. There are lots of broken links here. You might want to let me know which they are. Notice this was developed in 2005. The Last Spin, I believe the book is also available. The Last Spin is available online. There are two names, Ed McBain and Ava Hunter. They're both the same person. So you can read it. You can use it with your students. It's very, very powerful. Okay, there's The Last Spin. Notice here you have the introduction. This is an example of the WebQuest, the introduction. Where's the task? Did I skip the task? Yeah, I did. Oh no, this is the task. This is a mistake. Oh, I was doing it really quickly. This should be task. I don't know what happened here. Task. Okay, let me make sure that it's the heading. Yeah. All right, so it should be task. I moved it, as I said, from my website to this Google Doc because I think that it'll stay here. It'll be more permanent than my website, which might have broken links, and it might be a broken link of itself. Notice here, report of the task. If I go down to the task, this is the task. The students will play the roles of reporters for a national teen magazine. Their editor has asked the team to find out why a teenager called Danny committed suicide. Now you know the end of the story. Their mission is to cover the story from 4 angles. Reporter 1 will take, as you can see, teen gangs. He will get information about teen gangs and do the following. There's also background information. The second reporter will get another angle, and the angle is the family. Yeah, Danny's parents, I see is here. I think there's a repetition there. Danny's parents and Danny's girlfriend is also here, and answer these questions. Notice this is organized with the links and everything. So you provide your students with a very organized and controlled instructions on what to do and how to do. They will have fun, trust me, and they will feel very, very safe. Students need to feel that things are organized. If you want to look for my work, you'll be able to just Google me, which is what I do most of the time, Nellie Deutsch WebQuests, and you'll be able to find my WebQuest. But as I said, many of the links are broken. WebQuest by Nellie Deutsch. These are my WebQuests, and I've added them to the Google Docs, and you'll find them in the blog post. So there's The Last Spin, The Perfect Society, Choosing a National. These are all real WebQuests. This is what they look like. What I did in 2005, you click on the image, and this is the WebQuest. Okay, this is what it looks like. And you can follow the same. Okay, are there any questions so far? Let's go back here. Any questions? You will be going through each of these sections step by step. So this week, week 1, is overview and introductions, where you're going to choose the topic, start thinking about where you want to host your WebQuest, and start thinking about the task. We will work on the task in week 2. Week 3 will work on the process where you will be thinking about how to provide your students with clear instructions, even though the task also has the instructions of some kind, but the process really takes them through step 1, step 2. It's scaffolded in a very, very clear way, and we'll work on the instructions. You'll be able to work together. You don't have to work alone. You can also team up if that's how you want to work, and maybe do a few things, an individual WebQuest or a team WebQuest with some of the other participants. And then you're going to go to the evaluation where you will create rubrics and reflect, where the students will add their reflections. So you need to come up with questions for the students so that they learn how to reflect. The process is about learning how to do the tasks, how to team up, how to work together as a team, how to manage their time. That's all part of the process. And then showcase your work when you're done. That's in the final week. And there are different ways that you'll have to do that. Okay, so let me stop screen sharing. Are there any questions about the course or anything else? Or can I close this up? Yes, no, maybe?
Hi there.
Yes,
It's
Maria.
not actually a question. It's like
Comment.
thinking aloud.
Good.
Yeah. I guess it can be a little challenging or even a hurdle to find real life meaningful topics or tasks that will resonate with the students, which will
Okay.
make
So first
this
thing, you're right. Definitely. That's why when I mentioned the challenges, that was one of the challenges, to decide on a task. So think of a class. First of all, what class would you like to, because it has to be a real class. We're not just doing, a practice. We're actually creating a real, course for the students. So first of all, think of, a class, a particular class that you'd like to use the WebQuest with. Can you think of a class? I mean, to yourself.
Yes, sure. I've got it.
Okay, so the minute you have a class, you have to, well, you've got the age group, you've got what subjects you teach, where you are.
English basically as a foreign language.
Yeah, yes, okay. But what aspect, what are you doing now with your students? If you're teaching, if you're not teaching, then think of what you'd like to teach.
Right, I would like them to, I don't know, story reading is always interesting, and it kind of broadens their horizons, and
Oh, great.
can enhance critical thinking, high critical thinking.
Great. So think of a story that you'd like to do with them.
Yes, I've already thought about it.
Great. Okay. Now it could be in your native language as well. It doesn't have to be English. If you'd like to do it in another language, that would be fine too. If you teach, I don't know, in another language, you're not an English teacher, it doesn't matter. We could still understand what you're doing and you can still share your work. If you're a math teacher, you can do a WebQuest for math for any subject area, whether you're teaching young learners, university students.
Yeah, as I'm a yoga instructor as well, I was thinking of Siddhartha, for instance.
You mean teaching, teaching some of the content, what's involved in yoga, not so much doing yoga, but background information.
Right, the philosophy
behind. Yes, great.
Okay, so well, the task is pending. What should I ask them to do?
That's okay. That's the task. Okay, that's Once you have the topic, the next step is to think of what you'd like them to do that relates to real life. Now, with yoga, it's not really a problem because that is real life. It's actually, doing yoga, but you're talking about philosophy. So maybe you'd like to, if you're going to work in teams, maybe you'd like each team member to work on something and to have an umbrella task for them all. And then just start writing your ideas and share it with us so that, bounce it off the other participants so we can help one another.
Great. That is going to be real teamwork.
But it is a creative endeavor. You really have to think of and go through some of my WebQuests to get an idea of what the task entails.
Right. And also like putting yourself in their shoes, like what would I like to do with this story? What would I find interesting?
You're talking about stories. Yes,
Oh.
yes, exactly. Exactly. How would you like them to learn about it? What would you like them to be able to do?
And
as a
if I
team?
were my own student, so to speak, what would I like my teacher to ask me to do? What would I enjoy? No?
No, it's a task. You think of a task that you'd like them to do. That's why it's called inquiry-based task that you as a teacher come up with. So if we go to, let me screen share again. If I go, that's why it's trial and error. You're going to be trying it out. Let me see if I've got it open here. Yes. If I'm going into, I don't have them open here. So let me go into my, let's go into, for example, run for your health, since that's a bit connected to yoga, right? Okay, yeah. So this is the WebQuest. And notice the introduction. Let me go down here, the introduction. Obesity, the introduction is introducing the topic. So yoga, you could say yoga is very important, or the philosophy behind yoga will help. So obesity is a very serious health problem facing young people today. The percentage doubled since 1980. One of the leading causes of this health crisis, which is still relevant today, is inactivity.
Absolutely.
How is physical? Yes. How is physical activity, being fit, and health connected? So they're going to discover this, the task, and they're going to work in teams of, say, 4. The school has assigned your team to recruit members for a runners club. They're going to organize a runners club, or the school has decided to have a runners club, and it's up to the members of each team to recruit members. Now, what are they going to say? I don't want to join, like it's going to be hard to recruit members for a runners club, right? Especially if you're, not in shape. It is your job to convince your classmates that physical activity, or other members of the school, that physical activity is important. These are students and they're going to do this for their health and well-being. In your case, maybe well-being. Once you sign up enough members, design a health and fitness plan. So the students, the team members are going to come up with a health and fitness plan to get them fit and running by the end of the month. So they have 1 month to get the students running, their classmates running. The following calendar may be used to help organize your program. Well, the calendar doesn't exist anymore. It's a broken link, but you can follow it and choose a calendar. You may combine your fitness program with the President's Challenge, which was an American program, I think it's still available, and win prizes. This is a program that encourages all Americans to make being active part of their everyday lives. So you can see that the idea here is to get students active, to get them involved in their health. So you can't just tell them, you know, be healthy, it's important, run, it's good for you. I love running, so I chose running. It's really good for you. What are you going to do? So this is my idea. Okay, I came up with this task to get students involved, even though there's no such thing. Okay, there is no, the Runners Club doesn't exist. Okay, so you have to think out of the box in whatever topic you have, but you'll have a chance to discuss it, as I said, and come up with an interesting
Right.
task.
So a good place to start could be to set a scene and a setting, an imaginary.
Exactly. That's the idea.
Right.
You're thinking, yeah, it's really thinking of engaging learners in a real experience, because this is a real experience, right? And you're giving them, at whatever age, responsibilities. It is your responsibility to get your classmates engaged in running, of all things. It's not just doing exercises, but it's actual running. So that's, take a look at the examples. Let me share that with you so you have it in the chat. I think I also shared it in the recording. I think our time's almost up there. There we are. Okay, so the information is there in this blog post that I created just for this. Okay, any other questions or comments? Let's see if anyone added anything to the chat. Oh, Serena wanted Asia, Yerevan. Okay, now you know how to do it, right? In Asia, Armenia. All right, thank you. Myanmar. Okay, great. Okay, you'll have to find a city. That's in Asia, right? A city and not country when you're looking for your time zone. All right, so if there aren't any questions, I wish everyone a pleasurable and worthwhile work on their WebQuest, and to remember that doing is succeeding. So whatever you do, it's going to take you one step further. But you need to start. Okay, so thank you, and I'll see you next week. Next week, hopefully we'll be able to have more discussions. It's going to be less of a lecture, and we will be discussing how to get our tasks. Because remember, next week is the task, not this week. This week is just the topic and you can start thinking about it. But next week, we're going to get into the tasks. So have a great week and enjoy.
Likewise, Nellie. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.